and welcome. In today's video, I want to go through the first steps you need to kind of go through when you start your Etsy shop. I'm on my own Etsy journey and I'm in 7 months, which is not that long, I would say, but I have learned already a lot. And I wanted to delay making videos a little bit because I wanted to see if it actually works before I go through every month and tell you what's happening and, you know, how things are working. But now I feel more confident 7 months in because I grew every month and things happened which are really cool, and now I can talk about it. And now I also thought a little bit about what were my first steps when I started an Etsy shop, or maybe there were a few things I didn't do and I would do that if I started a new Etsy shop, which I actually did. So I have a second Etsy shop, which I will talk much later in my videos because it's very new. It's only 1 month old. But yeah, I want to talk through those 5 steps you can do to start your Etsy shop. With those 5 steps, you are well set up to start your Etsy journey. And please, if you learned something today, make sure to subscribe to my channel. You can not only follow my journey and I will present you with all the results, all the numbers, because I love numbers as well, but I also want to give you some tips and teach you what you can do to be successful in Etsy. And I can tell you already, I didn't have, after 1-2 months, the great success some people are talking about, but I am, and I continue to be successful. And I want to give you a bit more realistic view of what you can do on Etsy, something, you know, more in between. Obviously there are some maybe not so successful, and then there are the, you know, crazy people who just, you know, after a month or 2 already earn a lot of, I don't know, thousands of dollars, which is fine. I still love watching them because they still teach you a lot of things as well, and I learn from them. But I just want to give you also someone here on YouTube who is in the middle and who will tell you it's really hard work and you really have to stick to it and you have a really good mindset and you can't give up. And I support this with my own Etsy journey, which is fairly new, but a few months in. So you can follow this and create your own success story. So let's get started. The first thing I want to talk about is niche or products. You need to find something you are interested in, maybe even something you know, but not necessarily, you don't have to be good at it yet, I would say. I actually started in the digital products. It's not a niche, but I started to create digital products, and I'm in the productivity niche, which is still quite broad. So I kind of found my direction, but I didn't niche down like super crazy at the beginning, or still not, because I think you also need a phase where you can experiment a little bit, or maybe also see what you're really passionate about and what's really fun and what's successful as well. And of course, it should also be something people want. So there's a research part, which I talk in a second, but that's also something you might consider when you think about products or a niche, like there should be a demand for it. And one thing I would also consider is you want something you can create, which, you know, maybe it's fun also for you to create, and maybe it doesn't take you forever. Or at least you know that you maybe want to learn creating this first and then you start selling on Etsy. So maybe just think about a little strategy, how you want to create your products. When it comes to your products or niche, I think something which is easy to forget is also the customer. So maybe think more, what kind of customer could you serve? It could be a busy mom who wants to teach their own kids, you know, to be more mindful, or want to provide them with lots of activities so they can be busy themselves. You know, maybe the mom is a stay-at-home mom, but she has a lot of things to do and she wants to give the kids some guided creativity. I don't know, that might be already quite specific, but what I want to say with that is think about a customer you want to serve. Think about someone who would love your products. And if you are your own customer, I think that's also not bad at all. So you know exactly what you want. I can tell you, I'm 7 months into my Etsy journey, and only now I discovered a specific kind of niche or products within all my products about, you know, productivity, digital products. And I'm going to explore that more because I have seen that customers are quite drawn to that and it helps them very much. So I'm exploring this at the moment, and hopefully at some point I can talk about this here on my YouTube channel, which then hopefully will help you as well. So stay tuned and subscribe if you want to know more. And then there is the second step, the research. I'm sure if you watch this video, you have watched already a few videos on YouTube YouTube about Etsy, and many say research is important. And to be honest, I have to agree with them. Without the research, you just don't know what people want, what is in demand. So it definitely helps to do the research. It doesn't only help, it is necessary if you want to be successful on Etsy. I can tell you, after 7 months, I definitely did a lot of research. But now I'm also at a point where I know my customer a little bit more and I can experiment a little bit more. So I can come up with some digital products which maybe are not on Etsy or not in that format. And I recently created a printable, and it has sold a few days after I published it, and it continues to sell. I think it's like a week old or something. And I'm very surprised and, happy about it. I'm like, oh, I tried something new. I didn't get necessarily inspiration from other listings, but I started to think myself and try to understand my customer a little bit more so I can create my own products and then sell it. But that's not part of your first steps, but I just wanted to mention it here because it will be part of your Etsy journey, and I will also talk about it in my future videos. And when it comes to research, tools definitely help. And I know that there are different kind of opinions about research out there. And to be fair, there are many ways you can do your own research. I started, I think, to use a bunch of tools and started with the free versions to also test them. Then I paid for 2 tools and explored them a little bit, and then I canceled one. And at the moment, I just use one tool, which is eRank. And if you want to know more about eRank, how I use it, then let me know in the comments down below. But I also use Etsy a lot, like the platform itself, to do research and to see what people like. So that's also a good thing to do, so you don't actually have to go outside of Etsy to do your research. And the next step I want you to think about when you start an Etsy shop is branding. So I don't know, maybe it's just me. I really like the idea of branding, always have. It makes sense to really have your own brand on Etsy. So when I talk about branding or being a brand on Etsy, that really means thinking about, the colors you use, the tone of voice you use, the imagery you use, the kind of consistency on your shop. So when you go to your Etsy shop, you have the banner, for example, you have your logo, you have your profile picture, you have all your listings, the pictures, the images. So all of these should kind of flow and look like a brand. So when you start your Etsy shop, I would definitely think more like that's your brand and you're taking care of your brand and how you can actually create your brand, rather than, oh, I just want to have digital products on Etsy and sell them. I'm very happy when people find me and then go to my Etsy shop. I can tell, because then all of a sudden I get notifications. They like this product and this product and this product and this product, and you get a notification all the time. Or then you have the notification, they like the shop. Then it just feels like you did something right. They get the idea, they discover all these products and they're like, oh, this could be really helpful. I should put that in my favorites, Of course, a sale is always better, but that already gives you an indication of that you're doing something right, that people like your products. I also have a whole shop kind of listing, and quite a few people have bought that already, which I'm really happy about, because again, that shows me they really love the concept of my shop and the products I'm providing them, and just gives me the feeling that a brand is just the right way to do on Etsy. And the fourth thing I want you to do when you start your Etsy shop is to have a listing strategy. And this is something I actually had from the beginning without really thinking, oh, I need a listing strategy, if that makes sense. But now, reflecting on my beginnings, having the strategy really helped me to just, stick with it, to be really consistent and just, continue and not have any, breaks or where I'm not doing anything for a week on my Etsy shop, which, to be honest, I think that really affects your shop. You have to be active. This is something which is an unwritten rule, but Etsy likes it when you are active in your shop. It could be replying to customers, it could be optimizing, your imagery, or updating your shop announcement, or publishing a new listing, for example. So what I mean with listing strategy is kind of having a strategy of how many listings you want to publish on a regular basis. So it doesn't have to be every day, it doesn't have to be 3 times a day, but have a bit of an idea once you know what your product should be and how much time it takes you to create that product, to then really know, okay, I'm producing 1 listing per day, or 1 listing per 3 days, or 1 listing per week, or, you know, 2-3 listings per week, something like that. Maybe 1 listing per month is not enough because it probably doesn't give Etsy the impression that you are active on Etsy, but come up with something which is feasible to you and, you know, doable. I can tell you, I decided to do 1 listing per day, which is definitely a lot, and I was very slow at the beginning as well. And I still have some things I create, printables, where I'm like, wow, this took me like a few hours now for 1 listing, which is not great, but you know, it is what it is. I try to make them quite unique and not use a template or anything, so it does take me still sometimes a bit of time. But it would be also okay to have less listings. And I know I'm not a millionaire yet, but I'm not only doing Etsy, by the way, I'm doing other things, and I will talk about this on my channel as well. But I think Etsy is very interesting, and I do focus a lot on Etsy, so that's why I'm talking about Etsy the most here on my channel. But yeah, I don't have the intention to put out a listing a day for years and years and years. But so far, I'm 7 months in. I have stuck to 1 listing per day. Sometimes I have a few days in between where I don't publish anything, but then I have the time to create maybe 5 listings in one workflow, and then I will publish these 5. So I kind of have like, I don't know, what are 7 months? How many days? So yeah, 7 months are 212 listings pretty much, so 212 days. I'm 6.5 months in, but I say 7 months already. So I have about 200 listings at the moment. So I really stuck to my listing strategy, and I'm just happy, you know, that I did that. And I think you should have a strategy as well, because that really helps you to not give up and be consistent. And I will make a video about listings, because something I discovered quite late into my journey is maybe I should not create a unique listing every single day, because that basically means I have to start from scratch and think about really something unique, but have similar listings. If not, and this is something I now just started, which I don't know, maybe people don't talk about this enough, but I duplicated listings quite a bit and just changed either the title or the image, or, you know, changed something but kept it same. So it took me like a few minutes to do that, really, and that gives me more listings, but also the opportunity that someone will find this listing. Plus, when you have a new listing, Etsy gives you a little boost and like tries to figure out how popular this listing could be, and you know, that therefore it shows this listing to people and then see what the reaction is. So you always have a new chance when you have a new listing to see if that listing might be successful. Oh yeah, and one thing which I will talk also in another video, because otherwise it gets too long, but there's also the pricing of your listings. And for example, I have printables, so sometimes it's just 1 page, and so my price is quite low, and that also reflects a little bit in my earnings. So I really had to come up with a strategy to make that, you know, value higher. So I will talk about this in another video as well, but I just wanted to mention it here, that, you know, you sometimes come across a few struggles, and then you have to really think about what could be my next steps, what could be my strategy with that obstacle. And last but not least, there's the question, how do you get your first sales? And here's something, some people will disagree with it, but I have found that this is actually a good strategy. And that's what I have done. And that's what I think also helped me. I would say ask your family members and friends to buy some of your products or one of your products if they like it. So don't kind of bribe them or pay them for it. Just present them with your shop and with your products. And if they like it, they can purchase it basically to support you, and then also leave a review. And do you need it, you know, for the Etsy algorithm or things like that? I would say no, you don't do it really for that. Why I did it, to kind of like manipulate my brain a little bit and see early success. And although it's not real success, because you're asking someone you know to buy something and to leave a review, it still shows up in your, you know, dashboard that someone bought something. But also when they leave a review, you get all these nice stars. And when you look at your shop, you see like, oh, you have, I don't know, 3 sales and already 5 stars there. You know, I think it's for your psychology to have like initial success. You know, you trick your brain and seeing some initial success, and that will boost your motivation. And starting your Etsy shop, your mindset is everything, and no one talks about this enough, but you really need a good mindset. You need to set up your brain for consistency and like the mentality of not giving up and just like hustle and like continue doing things, because it's freaking hard and it's so demotivating at points. I want to hear this cha-ching all the time, but then hours and hours pass by, maybe especially at the beginning, days where you don't hear it and you think like, what's wrong, why is it not happening? I think my products are bad or my Etsy shop doesn't work. No, you just need some patience, you need perseverance, you have to try new things, you have to continue learning. Just because 1 month or 2 months pass by and you have little or no sales doesn't mean you failed. I know it's hard because you see some people and they are already quite successful after 1, 2, 3 months, whatever, and you just think you did something wrong or you're just not good enough. And believe me, I have these thoughts as well, but I just want to continue. I know I can be successful. I am already seeing a lot of success on Etsy, and I know I will continue to see success on Etsy, but it's hard. Anyways, back to asking a few friends or family members. It shouldn't be like 20, I think I just asked maybe 3 to 5 friends to look at my shop, and if they see anything, to buy it and then leave me a review. That was enough. I didn't need more, to boost my confidence and to kind of trick myself into like having a little success story at the beginning. And then after that, all my sales are organic and friends are not buying anymore, or family members, unless they obviously like the products and want to buy more. But yeah, so do that. I think it will help you. Do it in a very natural way. You can just tell people about it. Not many people know that I have an Etsy shop, to be fair. Only the people I asked maybe to look at my shop, and I think I posted about it on my personal profile once that I started an Etsy shop, so a few people saw it. Otherwise, I'm not really talking about it. And now I obviously started this YouTube channel to talk about it more. But yeah, we will see who watches it. Okay, these are my 5 beginner tips when you start your Etsy shop, especially with digital products. I specialize on digital products. So if you have an Etsy shop, especially with digital products, make sure you subscribe to my channel. And I hope I will see you in my next video. Bye!